member, Victoria Swan Lake.
Madam Speaker, the Minister of Education has repeatedly told this House and the public that there is, quote, no new money for public education. That's his stock answer every time the subject of unfunded cost pressures on school districts is raised. But, Madam Speaker, there is one area of his budget that is growing rapidly: private schools operating distance learning businesses. Apparently, they didn't get the memo that said no new money. In fact, government subsidies have actually been increased for private online courses, and this generous increase comes at a time when there is no money for public education. We've seen enrollment in these private businesses grow by 125% thanks to the subsidy increase introduced by this government. Can the Minister of Education explain why there's one rule of unbending budget restraint for students, parents, teachers and trustees in public education, but a completely different set of funding rules in his ministry for online independent schools?
Minister of Education.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and to the member opposite. I think what I've seen in terms of opposition budget analysis is flawed at best. And Madam Speaker, the reality is that this government has invested in education at record levels since 2001. We have added an additional $1 billion a year, Madam Speaker, to public education in this province. And in addition, Madam Speaker, that has been at a time where enrollment in public schools has been declining by 70,000 students. So, Madam Speaker, we have said clearly as a government that we support choice for parents in our education system. Independent schools provide that choice, Madam Speaker, and they are funded at the same level that they have been in our block funding formula, Madam Speaker, and we support independent schools and what they provide, but Madam Speaker, not at the expense of the public education system, with a clear understanding that public education is fundamental to the future of this province.
Victoria, recognizing the member for Victoria Swan Lake.
Well, Madam Speaker, despite what the minister said, there is a funding double standard going on here. We've just been through estimates debate. The minister confirmed on the record that public education funding has been frozen for the last 2 years and will be frozen for 3 more years to public schools and school districts. And we've just received a Freedom of Information request released this week that shows that the Parliamentary Secretary for Independent Schools was, quote, influential in getting approval for 3 funding policy changes that will give a $6.5 million increase to independent schools. Now, I'll give credit to the member for Maple Ridge Mission. He seems to be a far more effective advocate for his sector than the Minister of Education seems to be for public education, Madam Speaker. But I would ask the Minister of Education this, and speak directly to teachers who are being laid off in districts right across British Columbia and kids who are losing their programs in public education, if you will. At a time when operating grants are being frozen in school districts, how can this government somehow manage to direct more funds to private schools while refusing the same consideration and fair treatment to public schools?
Recognizing the Minister of Education.
Well, thank you, Madam Speaker. I have the opposition's education funding formulas. Oh, I'm sorry, it's a blank sheet of paper, Madam Speaker. I will say this, Madam Speaker. I will say this, Madam Speaker, very clearly. Madam Speaker, when you look at the investments of this government in public education, if you look at the investment in all-day kindergarten at $120 million a year, if you look at our investments in special education, If you look at our Learning Improvement Fund, Madam Speaker, that has hired 500 new teachers, 400 new special education assistants, increased the hours in classroom for special education assistants. Madam Speaker, the policy of the members opposite when it comes to budgeting is spend, 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 but no policy on how to generate the revenue. This government is working to generate a balanced economy so that we can invest in the future of education, healthcare, and other social services. And Madam Speaker, not only are we talking about the future, we are doing it.